Hello everyone and a happy Christmas to you all, and guess what, it's that magical time of the year again where we all grab a nice cup of cocoa or mulled wine and settle down to talk about the best games of the past year. That's right, it's time to pick the top 10 games of 2016. As always, these are my personal favourite games of the year, so in all likelihood you probably won't agree with them. So make sure to let me know your top 10 list in the comments down below and why. Before we start, some ground rules. Now, no ports or HD remakes, so sorry Twilight Princess HD, while you are fabulous, that does rule you out. And obviously no games I haven't actually got round to playing yet, which sadly cuts out The Last Guardian from the runnings, which, fingers crossed, is going to appear in my Christmas stocking this year anyway. Okay then, let's do a quick rundown of games 10 to 5. And now here we are for the top 5. While it may have been a rather short game, there's something very special about Campo Santo's beautiful story-based experience Firewatch. Each chapter is gripping, the soundtrack and dialogue is fantastic, and there's so many small details in the game's ode to the Wyoming forest environment to pore over. And did I mention it's beautiful? That's thanks mostly to the hand of British designer Ollie Moss, who helped design the world and visual style of the game, and is the reason why I'll never forget my hike with Hank around Two Forks as the sun sets over Jonesy Lake. The Pokemon franchise enjoyed a very fruitful year in 2016 with that random Pokemon Go epidemic in the summer, which caused London city workers to gather in Hyde Park shouting about Laprases. But in all honesty, the main series needed a bit of a shake-up, and that's exactly what we've got with Pokemon Sun and Moon. The new games are the perfect balance of old and new, combining the excitement of discovery with the familiar in the form of new Alolan types of old-gen Pokemon, like the Alolan Diglett and its luscious locks, or the hilariously long-necked Exeggutor. I absolutely loved the new island structure and the wonderfully warm and inviting Hawaiian theme, even if the difficulty level of story progressing battles has declined in recent years. And come on, how can anyone not love this little guy? Nintendo's finest achievement this year has to be his ever so niche turn-based strategy RPG Fire Emblem Fates, which yes, only came out in Europe this May. It's a game which revels in making you see the importance of your decisions and ultimately the consequence of your mistakes, with its devastating although optional permadeath feature, which truly hits home when you've spent the past 8 hours chirpsing a fellow squad member only for you to accidentally get them surrounded on the battlefield. But Fates gives you the hardest decision of all before you've even bought the game, and that's between family blood or emotional ties, or rather the Kingdom of Hoshido in Birthright or the evil Empire of Nor in Conquest. Both versions feel like distinct adventures and individual games in their own right, with a slightly more difficult experience awaiting you should you pick Conquest. But this game is more than just excellent narrative and tough decisions, as like its fantastic predecessor Awakening, the battle sections are superb, making you think and plot out every move and truly get a sense of achievement in each well-earned victory, even if the characters you're fighting you once called family. The game which probably took over my life the most on launch this year was Eric Barone's farming sim and the cheapest virtual answer to a relaxing spa weekend. Stardew Valley was always going to be a winner, taking all of the best parts of the Harvest Moon series like tending crops, fishing, wooing unsuspecting townsfolk and mining your way to the bank, and building upon its successes with an intriguing underlying plot and regular updates, like making grumpy old Shane a marriage candidate. I always love a game where I'm encouraged to take notes, like mapping out my rocker bachelor Sam's daily schedule so I can follow him around town and shower him with gifts, taking note of his favourites, which is probably as creepy as it sounds. And okay, while the characters were a little stereotypical, the way the story and gameplay is crafted made me truly give a damn about the plight of each townsfolk and want to know more about their backstories than any Harvest Moon game in the past 5 years. And the best news is, it is now out on PS4 and due for the release on the Nintendo Switch next year. Time to triple dip. If you want to hear more about Stardew Valley, make sure you check out my review. Last year, our game of the year was Don't Nod and Square Enix's fantastic and emotional episodic adventure, Life is Strange. And this year, it's all about The Boys in Black. That's right, my Game of the Year 2016 award goes to another Square Enix title, this time, Final Fantasy XV. Like Pokemon Sun and Moon, I didn't end up reviewing Final Fantasy XV at all this year, and that's mostly because I was having too much fun cruising in the regalia from town to town on random errands like a lad's road trip. Like The Witcher 3, it's one of those fantastic gaming experiences where you can spend literally hours immersing yourself in the fantasy world around you, be it riding chocobos across a field as the sun sets before you, fishing in the most serene bubbling stream you can find, cooking up a storm on the campfire with some of the most realistic in-game meals you will ever find, commissioning Cindy to pimp up your ride in the most garish manner possible, or journeying to the far corners of the kingdom to find that perfect photo op for Prompto. When I first saw the trailers of Final Fantasy XV, I really wasn't too keen on the battle system or particularly fond of the leather-clad quartet, but it goes to show how mere moments into the game I was completely sold on both, with my morning commute daydreams now spent arguing to myself about who the best boy truly is. Noctis, Prompto, Gladio or Ignis. I'm pretty sure it's the cheeky Prompto. Game of the Year for me is more than just review scores and technically impressive gaming achievements, although saying that, Final Fantasy XV's glorious game engine is a wonder to behold. For me, it's about emotional investment and a connection to the game and its story. And yes, while that does sound super corny, like with most things, it's those small, special yet sentimental moments in a game which makes its warmth and heart shine through. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to let me know your favourite top 10 games of 2016, and otherwise have a happy Christmas, and I'll see you soon. Bye!